to terrestrial radio than probably some of the folks here. They're facing a lot of the same challenges that you are. Their audience is moving away to streaming services and satellite radio as well. And I worry from time to time what's going to happen without that local radio station when there's something like a hurricane that we had in South Texas. Where are the venues now for our local advertisers to affordably reach people? You know, I've got a subscription to Netflix. I've got a subscription to a streaming music service. I've done a pretty good job at avoiding all commercials. If we could now just block some of the pop-ups on the internet. But so there is an issue there, and I urge you to be sympathetic. But I want to talk a little bit, and I'll let anybody on the panel who wants to address this take it. You get complete sympathy from me that I believe songwriters, in particular, are underpaid. I think the performers, I used to say, well, get out and play some more concerts, and you can make some more money. But I want to come up with a fair solution for everybody, and I really do like some of the bills that are out here. But let's just take me for an example. I've got a $120 subscription a year to a streaming music service. I've got a $120 a year subscription to satellite radio. I go to 2 or 3 concerts a year. I'll buy maybe 5 or 6 CDs a year. And I burn $500 a year on music. Where is this extra money going to come from? Who's making the money that we're going to redistribute here? Or am I going to end up spending $600 or $700 a year on my music?
Yes, sir. Your point is so well taken, and I so identify with it. And that's why I really wanted to emphasize today this. I keep talking about the spirit of cooperation. For us to reach a place where we are not competing, a place where we're all on the same team, where we're all creating together. I would not be here if it weren't for the radio stations that played my music, and they played it for free, and it benefited me. Yes, sir, your point is so well taken. We all so benefited from that. However, as I said before, it is property. And that's why I think that it's just a matter of us getting out of the competitive frame of mind and getting into the creative frame of mind together. And that's why I say we should, the National Association of Broadcasters and the songwriters and the creators are really on the same team. We do the same together. Those stations couldn't exist without these great records, these great Guns N' Roses records. But the Guns N' Roses benefited from the stations playing that.
Absolutely. It was a symbiotic relationship. Ms. Warwick, I do want to address your question. I mean, you're kind of jokingly about making it retroactive. Just so everybody knows, it would be an ex post facto. It would be an ex post facto law to go change the rules for something that's already been done. And
that's become a dirty word, but I think I heard something that's 36 months or 3 years or something. You know, in the spirit of cooperation. You know. Right.
And again, I think we made a huge mistake when we set it up where the older material was not covered in digital. I do think that's wrong, and I do think it certainly needs to be fixed going forward. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit, and y'all mentioned YouTube and how little they play, but they also offer a service. If I were to want to produce a video about anything and put some music behind it, I couldn't for the life of me figure out who I needed to pay. The songwriters, the performers. There's no comprehensive database. Mr. Sensenbrenner has introduced legislation to fix that, and as part of this ongoing conversation. Does anybody object to having a comprehensive database of who owns what so we can legally figure out who to pay?
Wouldn't you feel that all component parts of the music that you think that you want to play should be paid?
I do, but how do if I were to say want to play one of your songs in a video, how would I figure out who all to compensate?
There's a name on whoever wrote it. There's a name whoever sung it. There's a name whoever played on it. That's how.
And so how do I find them? Go ahead.
Part of this-
I'm out of time, and I'll let.
No, you may answer, Mr.
I was just going to say, part of the Music Modernization Act is this collective that's going to be set up is going to become, in a sense, a clearinghouse for all songwriters and publishers. That's where this information will come from. And it will, believe me, songwriters, if we knew that we had a place to go to find ourselves, we will go find ourselves. And also there's millions and millions of dollars that are not being paid, that are being held by the streaming services now, that this act will it'll set up the clearinghouse so that we can finally be paid these unpaid royalties. So there are many, many benefits about that.
Your question is the Music Modernization Act. It's in there. When we're trying to get that legislation passed so that we can have a music licensing collective that does this work. Sound Exchange worked extremely well in the digital age to collect performance royalties for digital streams. It's a beautiful system. It was, something that has benefited me and all of the other artists and performers and even producers. So as long as we can get the Music Modernization Act through, the answer to your question is in there.
I believe the ranking member has a quick question.
Yes, I'd like to ask the gentleman from Texas who yield for a quick question.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate your concern for the financial viability of small radio stations. Were you aware that the Fair Play, Fair Pay Act has a provision limiting liability or responsibility under the for payment of royalties for performing artists for radio stations under $1 million revenue a year to $500 a year? And would that satisfy your concern in this respect?
It's certainly a good start. I do believe that, and again, I'm generally supportive of all the legislation that we're discussing here today, and it's just a matter of the devil is always in the details, and I appreciate all the work everybody's doing on it and want to continue to be a part of it.
Thank you. And
Thank you. I yield back.
I now have to get to the detail of recognizing the gentleman from Brooklyn, Mr. Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think